Hello everyone, I'm Brian, and today I'm going to be answering comments part 7. So the first comment. Randomly stumbled into your channel, looks neat. I've watched about 50 minutes of your video. I know nothing about what Vedantic is. But since we're on the internet, I'll give my 2 cents away. There's a lot of 2 cents all over the place, by all means. Around 1650, you say everything is pure consciousness. Then you say that everything has consciousness. I'm pretty sure when they say everything is pure consciousness, they mean that matter and items as we know it is actually consciousness. So from that perspective, things can't possess consciousness. I know that worldview sounds very woo-woo. I don't know what you mean by that, but do explain if you can. Well, what's woo-woo mean? But anyways, there are some very good arguments that's actually the case. It's very hard for me to understand Eastern teachings without some Western translator. I would recommend Bernardo Kastrup as a decent Western translator. Anyway, your channel looks like it has some good content. Some good content? You may be overstating it there. A few good content. But I'll accept some, you're bumping my ego there a little bit. But cheers. Okay, so a couple points here. You actually made me think a little bit. Everyone makes me think, but anyways, the interesting thing that you said, I did distinguish between everything is pure consciousness and everything has consciousness and everything is pure consciousness. That's the one. I didn't distinguish the two in my mind. So this thing is pure consciousness and has consciousness, but it's not aware of the consciousness because it doesn't have the thing doesn't have the facilities to be aware of itself. And this is where I got that one from is Swami Tadamadana's video, where I think it was the one with the buckets. So if you watch that video, I think that's where he explained, unless I misunderstood him, which could very well be the case. But this is made out of pure consciousness, therefore it has consciousness, but it's not aware of it. We are made of pure consciousness, and we have consciousness, but we are aware of it because of our brains. Animals, anything existing in this world is made out of consciousness and has consciousness, but it's just unaware of it. The material itself is unaware of it. It cannot falsely identify itself like we can. Again, so I've never thought about it this way, and this is my first time ever explaining this. So again, everyone in the comments let me know if I'm wrong or right or somewhere in the middle. But yes, so everything is made out of consciousness, and everything has consciousness because if it's made out of it, it has it. That's probably the reason why I'm not distinguishing between having it and being made out of it. Those two are one and the same to me. Again, let me know if I'm wrong about that one, because this is as far as my understanding goes. But what makes us different is our brain, our memory, and I'm sure animals have this consciousness, but I believe there's a hierarchy in some versions of Hinduism where animals, while are conscious, don't have a higher level of thinking like we do, so we are a bit more aware of things, whereas animals tend to be instinctual, but also some have memories like we do. So that's for that part about everything is pure consciousness and everything has consciousness. To me, those are not different, they're the same. What's the next one that you said here? Do explain the worldview sounds very woohoo. But is actually the case. Okay, and I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, like, that'd be pretty cool to hear the good arguments, that being the case that everything's pure consciousness. Swami Sarvapriyananda has talked a lot about the hard question of consciousness from science, and science can't really, as far as he's saying, I've never studied it myself, and it's very interesting because it makes sense that science would see this as the materialistic world creating an immaterial thing, which is consciousness. I can kind of see it that a material world creating a form of consciousness, because our brains are synaptic signals, and that synaptic signals may be the consciousness, but I don't know. And are you? I mean, that's definitely going against Hinduism, but at the same time, I'm very open. I'm open to both, really, but I don't know what the real answer is. So that's why I'm generally speaking very open. I hear people out and take their words into consideration. Next thing, let's see. it's very hard for me to understand Eastern teachings without some Western translator. That's what I'm trying to do from my own understanding and perspective. Obviously, it's very limited, very tiny. Like that's a lot, like somewhere around there. Oh, and hopefully in my videos I do a decent job, like at the maximum level, decent job of explaining it how I understood it. Because, and this is, like I said, something I'm trying to do is trying to get a three-parter here. Again, like like Swami Sarvarpiananda, there's the Western perspective of things, or people who don't follow Hinduism, the Advaita Vedanta, specifically non-dualist, which actually Advaita Vedanta is that non-dualist. Then there's my thinking, and then there's Advaita Vedanta. So Western, Advaita Vedanta, and my thinking. Western's everything's material, everything is real. I am me, you are you. We are not the same. This is a pen. Then Advaita Vedanta's way, we're all one, everything's one. This is me, this is you, we're all pure consciousness. And there's my perspective of things, of how it's a kind of a mixture between the two, where I am me, you are you, but in my awareness, we're all one. So how I explain that is, we all have consciousness. That's how we are aware of things. And I don't know how to explain this other than this. And what proof do I have? Not really. I guess it's a mixture of the two again. But in this pen is me in my consciousness. What I'm looking at right now, this materialistic world, is me. Because in order for me to be aware of it, it must be in my consciousness for me to be aware of it. If it doesn't manifest in my consciousness, it doesn't exist. I don't know it's there. It's not in my consciousness. I am not aware of it. My bedroom doesn't exist right now because I don't know if it's there or not. That's weird to say. But obviously I have memory of it. I can recollect it from my brain. My brain can bring it back to my consciousness and says, here's your bed. I'm like, wait, is that my bed? Hold on. Yes, maybe. Think so. But yes, you get my points. That anything that I'm aware of must manifest in my consciousness for me to be aware of it. Therefore, if we're talking to each other, you are manifesting in my consciousness. You talking is manifesting in my consciousness. My consciousness. So anything that's I see and aware of is in my consciousness, is manifest in my consciousness, therefore is me. So that's a different kind of perspective to look at. It's not Advaita Vedanta. It's not the materialistic world, because the materialistic world will say everything is separate. What I'm experiencing here, it's not what how do I say? Not me. Whereas Advaita Vedanta will say this is me. Where I'm saying that this is here and this is me. To a degree. So anyways, and I'll look that person up, Bernardo Kastrop, I believe. I think I said his name right. And again, that's what I try to do in my channel to a degree, and mostly listening. Hopefully, a lot of interruptions, because I don't want people coming to my channel to watch these videos. That is not what my channel is. You shouldn't be. I will not play something from start to finish. Hopefully, without interruptions. I will interrupt. I will talk. I will not destroy the video, but I will interrupt that video to where hopefully if you want to watch that video, you will go to their channel and watch it without me talking. Alright, so let me find another question. Okay, so the next one says, you're confusing Brahmin with Brahman. Brahmin, B-R-A-H-M-I-N, versus Brahmin, which is an A instead of an I, is a priestly caste out of the 4 castes in which Hindus have organized themselves. The other 3 being K-S-H-Y-A-T-R-I-Y-A, the warrior caste, Vaishya, the merchant caste, and Shudra, the labor caste. Okay, yeah, I know there is like followers of Kali, the followers of Vishnu, like the followers are named like something very similar to the god or gods themselves. And it's usually shorter with an I or something like that. And that's what I thought. Brahmin are followers of Brahman. You know, and I think I remember Sadhguru talking about followers of a particular faith, and it was like, it was literally the name and with like an I at the end instead of like AN. It's like Brahmi or something like that. I can't remember. So that's the reason why I was associating with that. And so the threads mentioned by Swami is called Janu, which is part of the 3 sacred threads worn by the Brahmins. Another comment said Brahmin's thread is just thread that Brahmins caste wear. I didn't know that. So that's interesting to know. Was it Ramakrishna was not a follower of Brahman, was a follower of Kali, if I remember the story correctly. And it's just Brahmin, it's just a priestly class and not a follower of Brahman. Got it. The next so here's a real quick one. One of the comments says react to Osho videos. I cannot react to Osho videos. The Osho videos that I react to has been completely blocked. It wasn't just claimed, it was blocked. Like, I cannot play it at all. It was from the Osho Foundation, by the way. Whenever I try to react to their videos, it's always a struggle to put any of it out. There's so much editing going on that I basically cannot play the video at all. And I'd rather not get myself in too deep of a trouble with Osho's Foundation. I tried asking them, talking to them. You cannot. Unless they've changed, but I doubt it. It really sucks. Our Osho was a very, very harsh Guru Swami. I can't remember what the title he was. It was just called Osho to me, but I loved it. It's a harsh truth. It's kind of a truth that people need to hear. Like, to understand that, you know, all the gurus and swamis that I watch now are very kind and very realistic, but they put their words in a very gentle sense. They're not very harsh at all. Very kind and caring. Osho, on the other hand, tells you the truth and smacks you in the face. That's the kind of truth it tells you, but it's something that's needed in this world, is to understand that while there is kindness in the world, but there are also harshness in this world. If we keep constantly babying people, and then the first time they encounter hardship, they'll be like, what is this? That's what I fear that's going on in a lot of developed cities, because it's not just Western nation. There's also a lot of cities that are very developed, and I think the only reason why I think of this is because of what I hear that's going on in certain parts of India that's a very well, not industrious, but very prosperous. So the food, the thirst, and the shelter, all taken care of. The 3 basic needs that you need. Once those are taken care of, other issues prop up, like Swami Sadhguru would say. You know, hunger, 1 problem. Hunger done, 99 problems. Very true. When you can think about a lot of things and worry about a whole bunch of things, you start complaining about a lot of things, even though you have your 3 main things taken care of. It's really weird. But yes, Osho, as far as the videos I've reacted to his, very harsh dude, but that's the thing I love about him. He's so far the only one that seems to be quite harsh about what he says and not caring. He seems almost arrogant in a way, but he speaks the truth in a lot of sense, and that's what I like. Need a little bit of a smack in the face every now and then whenever people teach you stuff. You're very nice. What the heck, man? It's like, that's reality. It'll slap you in the face sometimes. Just get ready for it. This is just training. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to say that I wish I could react to Osho videos, but it's getting blocked. Same thing goes with Krishnamurti. I've gotten luck with a few of them. Some of them didn't get blocked. Some of them got claimed, and now a lot of them are starting to get blocked. So I don't want to risk, like, I have very limited time, and I wish I could do this full time, but if I react to it and I edit it and I put it out, mind you, very minimum editing in my videos. It's all just right on the spot, basically, start to finish. But then it doesn't play, and I don't have enough time to put out another video for you guys. I kind of have to go in with the guarantees, and if I can get ahead of the schedule, I could probably try throwing in a one that I've not before, and hope that whenever I publish it, if it gets blocked, then I have time to catch up, or I have time to edit it out, or whatever it may be. So anyways, let me find another question. So this one's an interesting one. This person says, objects are not Brahman. Neither are they in Brahman. Objects appear in Brahman. Please correct your language and stop saying everything is consciousness. Start saying everything appears in consciousness and understand it. Things will become easier to grasp. Brahman is Brahman is object and subject at the same time. But ultimately, Brahman is only a pure subject witness when not appearing as an object. Science says it's only an object of study. It's totally wrong. So, you said Brahman is object and subject at the same time. So you can, at least as far as that language is, you're saying that it is the subject, right now me, my consciousness, and the object at the same time. So me and this object are Brahman, the same thing. But it is an object that I can study though. But ultimately Brahman is pure subject witness, does not appear when not appearing as objects. So yeah, and I agree with you there. I agree with most of that statement actually. But the fact that if you say that Brahman is an object too, you can study it. But perhaps you mean it in a different way, and I think the fact that you cannot study the object of the subject of Brahman, that doesn't make sense. It's not the right way to formulate that question. That's the thing that's kind of difficult. If Brahman is purely the subject, you can never study the subject. Therefore, you cannot study you can never study Brahman. If Brahman is purely the subject and never the object, then this object shouldn't be here. We should never experience objects. But at the same time, you're saying, well, ultimately Brahman is pure subject witness when not appearing as an object. The thing is, though, is that if there's something separate from yourself, it is no longer, it's no longer, in a sense, part of you, probably. Objects are not Brahman. So this is not Brahman. Let's go to the beginning of the statement. Objects are not Brahman. They're neither are they in Brahman. Objects appear in Brahman. So it's kind of like saying if I dunk this in a large pool of water, it's like this is not water. It just appears in water, but it's not real. But I guess the main point, appears, means that it's not really there. It just appears to be there. So when I'm saying this in a pool of water, it just appears there, but it's not really there. An illusion, like Maya. The objects are not Brahman, neither are they in Brahman. Okay, I get that first sentence for sure there. Objects appear as Brahman, which is Maya. That's the reason why there's the three states. Absolute reality is Brahman. There's no such things as objects. This doesn't exist. This body does not exist. This thought processes that I have, that I think of the false I, is not real either. But this is where the transactional reality happens, where this is real, this body's real, my mind is real, this thought's real, the ego, the false I, is real in the transactional reality. Please correct your language, saying that everything is conscious. Is it not? I mean, everything being consciousness doesn't necessarily mean to make it true. Because this is consciousness doesn't mean that this pen is true. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Start saying everything appears in consciousness and understand it. To me, there's probably no distinction there between everything is consciousness and everything appears in consciousness. Because if everything is consciousness, I guess the assumption in my mind would be the fact that this is consciousness and it just appears in consciousness. It's not really a pen. It is an appearance of consciousness that we're seeing that we falsely identify as a pen. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It become easier to grasp. I understand it that way already. So everything is consciousness and appearance of consciousness are the same thing to me. To me, mind you, to me. So this pen, consciousness, it's an illusion of a pen in terms of Brahman. The reason why I say in terms of Brahman is because this is from the perspective of Advaita Vedanta, where everything in this world is Maya. The ego, ourselves, are Maya. There's only Brahman. And I look at from, again, three different perspectives. The materialistic West, no, I won't say Western world, but those who don't study Advaita Vedanta, dualism basically, my perspective now, and Advaita Vedanta non-dual. Non-dual, dual, and then my perspective, which is a mixture of the two, because it's a translation between the dual and the non-dual, but also having an understanding of the non-dual and the dual. Brahman is object and subject at the same time. That is a big statement to say there. But ultimately, Brahman is pure subject witness when not appearing as an object. You make it seem like it can appear at a free will. It's like, ultimately Brahman is pure witness when not appearing as object. That's just what it kind of seems like it sounds like there. So obviously, does Brahman willingly appear as objects? Science says it's only an object of study. It's totally only an object of study. Gotcha. Only. So it is an object of study, but also it is a subject. And I guess the problem with science, from your perspective, is that it doesn't. Brahman is not a subject. It's only an object. Gotcha. So this is the thing that you have to explain a little bit further for me, is how is Brahman an object and a subject? Someone said that, it might be you, I can't remember, that in one of the videos, I believe it's Swami Sarvapriyananda, explained how Brahman is the object and subject at the same time. Perhaps in absolute reality it is purely the subject. In the transactional reality we have this false object, while in reality it's the subject. Maybe is that what you're saying? That like you said right here, Brahman is pure subject witness, but in terms of the transactional reality it is the false object. It's still kind of confusing how can something of subject be an object, even as a false reality like this. And mind you can explain different ways. I may not understand it. It might be just because something's not clicking for me. And that's the reason why I watch different gurus and swamis, because sometimes I understand said guru, sometimes I understand Swami Tadamadanda, Swami Sarvapriyananda, Lakhani. I watch all of them try to explain the same thing, because sometimes they explain things in such a way that maybe said guru this time I understand, or Swami Tadamadanda, etc., etc. Alright, going to the next one. Okay, this next one is the fourth point, object of study versus eternal subject. Here, science tries to understand pure witness consciousness as an object. It's ridiculous. Consciousness is not an object which can be experienced, felt, quantified, measured, or studied objectively. By studying an object, you don't study Brahman, because Brahman is not an object. Object appears in Brahman and are illumined, experienced, and witnessed by it. So it is illumined and experienced and witnessed by it, experienced by it, illumined by it, and witnessed by it. Brahman is ever the pure subject witness. It appears an object, and it's not an object itself. The difference between science and Advaita Vedanta, Brahman is ever the pure subject witness. It appears as an object. Sorry, the end of the comment was that that's the difference between science and Advaita Vedanta. So I was reading, Brahman is ever pure subject witness. It appears as an object. In order to study anything though, right, we must have an object, whether there appears to be it or not. If there is no object, there's no study, there's nothing, there's only the subject. And only the subject, there's just blankness, if there's no object. And if the only thing that ever exists is Brahman, and which you said in I will not which you said before anyways, is that Brahman is pure subject, but it also things appear in it as objects, but it is still Brahman. Therefore Brahman is the object. Brahman is object and subject. But it's not the object itself. Okay, so let's go to this. Hold on, let me go back to the very beginning here. Sorry, I'm all over the place with this one because it's very interesting. Science starts to pure witness consciousness an object. It's ridiculous. Consciousness is not an object which can be experienced, felt. Which consciousness is not an object which can be experienced, felt, quantified, measured, or studied. By studying an object, you don't study Brahman because Brahman is not an object. Objects appear in Brahman and are illuminated. So, are these objects separate from Brahman? Something that is not Brahman, but Brahman illuminates it. It's kind of like if this pen was in the pitch darkness and I turn a flashlight on there and it's like, I see that pen. Because without the flashlight illuminating this pen, I won't be able to see it. When I turn off that illumination, the pen's still there, but I'm not able to see it. But Brahman, the flashlight, all this is separate from the pen. Separate from the pen. Are you saying Brahman and objects are separate? Because in order, again, like I said, I keep going in circles here, but because in order for us to study something, there must be an object to study. Now, if you say Brahman is subject consciousness or pure subject witness, and then there's another thing that's, oh my gosh, there's another thing like this pen that is not Brahman, but our Brahman is seeing it by illuminating it. But that's a duality's point of view, though, is it not? Brahman is ever pure witness. It's an object. Plus, also, I like your comments. They always have like so many exclamation points. I don't know if you're like yelling at the screen at me or just very excited. Studying object. You don't understand Brahman object. Appears as Brahman illuminate experience and witness. Brahman is ever the pure subject witness. It appears as an object. So you're saying the weirdest thing here is, again, Brahman being the subject, but yet somehow some piece of it is appearing as an object. But it's not the object itself. Please do explain that, because that's interesting. I think they definitely talked about it, but it's very difficult for me to grasp. And maybe, is there videos out? I'm sure maybe I've watched a few, and it's still, again, I may have understood it, but the puzzles, like I was playing, sometimes you got a whole bunch of puzzles, and you see all the pieces there, but they're not fitting together. So that's right now, like some of the puzzles are fitted, and some of the puzzles aren't there, so I'm not quite getting the whole picture. So if you don't mind explaining that, also. Is Brahman and object two separate things? Which in Advaita Vedanta, there's no such thing as duality. There's no separation between the Brahman and the object. And you're saying Brahman is pure subject. It can never be an object. But it appears as an object in Brahman. So is there like, how do you explain that Brahman is experiencing itself like as though it's an object, but it's not? But if you can experience Brahman as an object or an appearance as an object, then you can experience Brahman, whether it be in an appearance or not. It's nonetheless Brahman itself. I'm sorry, there's a lot of questions in what I just said here, so hopefully you can answer all of it, or point me to a video, but do answer it, because, and so I can read it and hopefully get a better understanding. Let me find another question now. Here's a quick one, a real quick comment. I'm not reading the whole thing, but you keep confusing yourself. Here's the part of the comment. You keep confusing yourself, saying everything is consciousness. It's not the right language to put it. This standpoint is only correct if you talk from the absolute reality, which at that point I am talking about absolute reality. But you got to also understand from transactional point of view. In transactional reality, everything is not Brahman. Instead, everything appears in Brahman, which I do agree. The transactional reality is Maya, but I distinguish those two at the same time. I merge the transactional objective reality, hopefully that people understand that everything is Brahman, especially people who are in Advaita Vedanta and who's been following the channel and watching all the videos prior to watching my reaction to these, that whenever I talk about everything is Brahman, I'm talking about the absolute reality. When I talk about how objects and everything, I talk about transactional reality, and sometimes I merge the two a little bit, where I say, me and this pen are Brahman. But that's just to say the fact that there's nothing separate from Brahman. I think Swami Sarvapriyananda had 3 statements to make. Brahman is all objects, not separate from objects. All space, not separate from space, and all time, not separate from time. Gosh, good Lord, I'm getting out of there. Those three. all objects, all space, and all time. Brahman is not separate from any of that. And I think you call it the limitless. I believe it's the terminology, the definition, or translation of it. Because it's not limited by anything. Brahman is everything. And this is where I get the everything from is Brahman. It's from Swami Sarvarpananda. Again, I could misunderstand him. I can't remember what video it was. But he made that statement, which I get, I understand. Everything is Brahman. Even the illusions, Maya is Brahman. This pen is Brahman, even though it's an object appearing in Brahman as an illusion. It's still Brahman. That's the whole point, and that's talking from the absolute reality's point of view, and how this pen and me are in a transactional reality, talking about the absolute reality. So I hope that clears things up. I know you've been making you made a lot of comments, and I've been getting a lot of your emails, and I've been reading them, and I've been meaning to get to answering people's comments because I want to make that clear. I do talk about absolute and transactional reality a lot, and a merger of those two in some cases. Subjective, not so much, just because it's subjective. I guess I don't know how to put that. Anyways, let me go ahead and find another question. Okay, that's actually it. So I want to do this more. I actually want to include questions in every video that I have. You know, the question at the very beginning and the answer at the very end, just for people who care about the question and or my answer to that question. But I keep forgetting, so that's why I do this videos. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.